Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to the 802 Riptide Radio All-Star Race. And this isn't your normal All-Star Race, let's say, because here with iRacing, we can travel to places very, very quickly, and that's what we're going to do tonight. We have 3 tracks on the docket here, and of course, we're looking at the first track right here. It is the Nashville Fairgrounds for 50 laps here to start off tonight. Then after this race concludes, we'll jump right into race number 2. That will be 30 laps at Kentucky, and then a 15-lap shootout at Daytona to end things on off. So, no points for the regular championship, let's say, but a lot on the line for some bragging rights and some really cool stuff. I think even a t-shirt is out there to be won. So, and of course, to win that, the best finishes from all 3 races will combine for your points, and that will determine who is season number 5 All-Star champion and who's going to walk away with all the bragging rights. But first, we got to tackle this track here, as this place definitely tricky to get off these corners, as this place very rough, really old surface. So we'll see guys try and work that bottom side, but that preferred groove is probably going to be right around that first dash lines around this track. So a lot of cool stuff here. This track, always a great time if you never raced it, especially in some short track cars like some super late models or some street stocks. Always put on some fantastic racing, but tonight we take the cup cars over there, and we'll find out who will be walking away at least from race number 1 with a smile on their face, as it looks like qualifying coming on up here soon. About 40 seconds left in practice. Looks like best time by the 21 GStone machine with an 18.45. So quick time tonight will probably be around that 18.5, but we of course will find that on out here in a few seconds. First, want to thank all you guys tuning on in here. Happy holidays, happy new year 2025, and starting off right with some virtual racing. Hopefully everyone had a good New Year's and a great day today, because 2025 should be a good one. I know I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are as well, as we get ready for our first qualifying of 2025. As we'll get cars hitting the track here in qualifying. Looks like 11 cars, at least in race number 1. Some people could be missing out here in race number 1 and jumping in at a later time. So we'll probably have at least 11 throughout all the races, but I definitely expect a little bit more, especially when it comes around to Daytona, because anything can happen there. As we get cars rolling to the backstretch here, we'll first jump to this 63 machine. Has a new scheme on that car. It looks very sporty. This is Max Cost. Cost is on the clock here as lap number 1. We'll start the timer here, and Cost, big time out of sorts, will get the inside wall with a big hit. So Cost gonna have to reset, give that one another try, as Matthew Taylor also out on track in the number 8 W machine. Taylor right now an 18.96 for lap number 1 of the number 8 machine. Right now, best time 18.75 by Johnny Barker so far, as Matt Taylor across the stripe for the final time. Looks like does improve a little bit, 18.89, but that'll put him P number 5, as Rob Lowell goes quick time with that 18.58. 46 car of Raposa here, just trying to get those laps, and it looks like lap number 1. We'll see if he can find a little bit more pace as Steve Ritter slots in P number 2 with an 18.64. Barker does improve to an 18.69 for P number 3 at the moment. Raposa finds a lot more speed there for the second lap, but definitely still looks like learning the track as Jason Wiley, lap number 1, 18.96. We'll see if the 13 car can improve here for lap number 2. I think he'll be the last car to qualify here, so everyone taking their laps very, very early. Oh, Wiley gets the wall there. That will now not allow the lap, so the 18.96 is going to stand for the 13 machine. As I believe that will pretty much do it here in qualifying for these guys. Still a little bit of time, but gotta give a shout out to this guy with the quick time. The GStone 21 machine of Rob Lowell was on that hot streak, like I said, at Atlanta. Had that place figured out, and the strategy picked up his first win of the season, and looking pretty sporty here in the All-Star race. He's didn't come into this track with a ton of confidence, but figuring something out, that's for sure. He's going to be leading the field to green, so big congrats to this 21 and that team there. So from qualifying results, we'll go Lowell, Ritter, Barker, then it is Pogo, Taylor, that being Matt Taylor. Then it is Chris Taylor in 6th. Then Koss, Wiley, Dill, Real, and Raposa. That will be the qualifying order. And of course, we'll run through that order again here in just a few seconds as we get ready to grid these cars for 50 laps around here tonight. And one thing that is different than the normal league racing, let's say, is no fast repairs out here tonight. So the one car that you load in with is your only car here in all these races here tonight. So these guys will have to be finding the limit, but keeping that car underneath them, because if they get a lot of damage, their race pretty much done from there. So these guys going to have definitely some fun, but I always love some racing with no fast repair, because it makes iRacing that much more realistic, makes guys back it down just that little bit more to promote harder racing. That's a little bit cleaner, but here we go. 50 laps up on the docket. We'll find out who's walking away with the first checkered flag of the night, because there's 3 chances here, and especially Daytona, anything can happen there. So that's where we'll, of course, end things off. But first, let's get rolling and get into the green flag for race number 1 here tonight at the Nashville Fairgrounds. So rolling off for the grid of the 802 iRacing All-Star Race for race number 1, the GStone 21 Ford Mustang of Rob Lowell will lead them to green. To his outside, a teammate and a fellow Ford Mustang. That is the Leaf Guard number 16 of Steve Ritter. Row number 3, and I tell you what, these teammates, top 3 lockout, because then we head back to the Valvoline 6. That is Johnny Barker rolling off 3rd. Rolling off 4th will be that 97. That is Jeff Pogo. I tell you what, Pogo having a great start to the season already. He's looking for some more success. We'll roll off P number 4. Starting in the P number 5 spot will be the W number 8. That is Matthew Taylor. And 2's outside. It looks like the Philadelphia Eagles number 69. That is Chris Taylor. Then we head to P number 7. That will be the 63 of Max Koss. And then 2's outside is Jason Wiley in the 13. Will be rolling off 8th. 9th going to the 81 of Dan Dill. Rounding out the top 10 will be Kenny Reel in that Premier Setup Shops number 11. And then we head to the driver starting shotgun on the field back in P number 11. That will be also the W number 46 of Eli Raposa. So that will do it here for tonight's starting order in race number 1. 50 laps is the distance here. No fast repairs, no tires. So if you're coming down pit road, that means your race isn't going the way you expected it to. So I have a feeling pit road going to be very light for most of the race here tonight. But we will find out here as lights are out on the iRacing pace car. We are going green this time by Lowell Ritter making up the front row. Here we go. The field will head through turns number 3 and 4. The iRacing pace car heads down to pit road, and Rob Lowell will wait for the green light. Here we go. We go green flag racing for race number 1 of the All-Star race. Rob Lowell shot out of a cannon there. Will get clear by a long stretch. Here comes Johnny Barker looking to the inside of Ritter. Can't quite get the job done on the inside lane. Going to be a tall order for all these drivers to get a move done down there. Lowell will lead lap number 1. Here comes Pogo looking to the outside of Barker. This will be a battle for P number 3. Pogo up top, Barker down low as they'll drag race down the backstretch. Head to turn number 3 here, still side by side. Barker will wash up a little bit. Pogo will keep the outside lane though. He's just got to hope for a little bit of a mistake from the 6 car. There it is, but they make contact as it looks like Pogo will sneak on by. Here comes now Matthew Taylor looking to the outside of the 6 car. So Johnny Barker getting stuck and pinned down on the bottom, finally able to find a gap up top. He will slot back into P number 4. That'll move him back 1 spot from where he started. Pogo up 1 spot from where he started. 5 laps now in the books at the stripe of the 50 to go as the field now single filed on out. Last time by Rob Lowell, quickest car on track. He's trying to check out in front, has about 3/4 of a second advantage over Steve Ritter in second. Looks like Jason Wiley a little bit slow down the backstretch that time by. Kenny Reel will go on by for P number 9 here. And you can just see and hear how bumpy as 1 car goes around on the backstretch. That's the 69 of Chris Taylor. Taylor will bring out the first caution of the evening. And you can see Taylor with some significant left front damage. We'll go catch a replay here, see what happened to the 69 machine. But my best guess would be that just getting those bumps a little bit awkwardly, getting on that throttle a little bit too much with a little bit too much wheel here off at turn number 2. And that is something that can easily happen. As you can see how low Taylor is. Oh, actually gets a piece of the apron, and we'll probably see that car bouncing all the way off the corners. Yeah, you get that apron and slowed down. It looks like it's a long time, but we'll rewatch this replay at full speed just to see how quickly it happens. But Taylor tries to lock it down, and yeah, pretty significant left front hit. Hopefully didn't damage that suspension, but definitely a little bit of damage will be to that left front nose piece. Luckily not a lot of speed here, so aero doesn't matter as much, but you can just see how quickly that car stepped on out there at full speed. But looks like Taylor down on pit road here, of course, trying to get some of the damage repaired. And it looks like at least good news for Chris Taylor. You don't see this on the NASCAR side of things, but you see it especially on short track racing and stuff like that. Caution laps are not counting, so if someone does go a lap down on pit road getting repairs or whatever they need, they will not do so until the green flag comes out. So you don't have to worry if your favorite driver gets trapped laps down under yellow, because caution laps are not counting. So we'll take 50 green flag laps to complete tonight's race, as it looks like lights are out around the Nashville Fairgrounds. So we'll re-rack the field, restack them, and get ready for the first restart of the night here. Front row still the same from the start of the race. We'll have Lowell down low, leading the field to the green flag, Ritter to the outside. Seven laps in the book, still a long way to go here, as Rob Lowell on the loud pedal again, and another great start for the 21 machine, as here we go, Jeff Pogo to the inside of Steve Ritter, side by side for second, as Ritter will get the advantage, but Pogo holding in strong on that inside lane. Ritter was such a run, he gets to the outside of Lowell, side by side battle for the race lead here. Ritter's going to have the preferred line, can carry that momentum a little bit better than the 21 machine here. So at the stripe, it's going to be a drag race. Ritter will get the wall, but he'll get the race lead as well. New race leader Steve Ritter, as he gets sent up the hill just a little bit. As it looks like Ritter finally clear from Lowell. So Ritter out in front. What kind of pace does the 16 have? As the 21 will see dirty air for the first time here tonight. He has company right behind him here. Jeff Pogo and Johnny Barker all over the back bumper of that 21 machine. Everyone knows 50 laps, it's go time from here on out. Pogo trying to defend from Johnny Barker further on back. Max Koss trying to get around Matthew Taylor. Koss down low, slips up a little bit. That allows the 81 of Dan Dill now to the outside. If Dan can complete this pass, he'll be the biggest mover of the race so far, up 6 spots and trying to get up into the top 5. But still side by side with Koss, as Koss not making it easy. Well, neither of these drivers making it easy on each other, as they continue to do a great battle here. A lot of respect given between the two of them, about a car length in between them. Want to make sure you don't make any enemies in the all-star race when it's all said and done, because especially season-long points, you need as many friends out on the speedway as you can get. Now Dill going to be under fire a little bit from Kenny Reel. Reel didn't quite have the qualifying effort he probably wanted, but going to try and pick his way through the field. As out in front, Steve Ritter continues to lead the way over Rob Lowell. Then Jeff Pogo still in third. Then a little bit further back here, Johnny Barker in fourth. And then Matt Taylor rounding out the top 5. So top 4 definitely checked on out in their own zip code. Then 5th and 6th kind of running together here. That be Matt Taylor and Max Koss. And then the battle we were just looking at here, as Dan Dill now under fire from the 11 from the inside here. This is kind of the final group of cars racing it out here with each other. We ride on board with Dill, trying to hold on to that outside lane here. As you can see, Rio get right up to the door, maybe some contact with the 81 machine. But you can see these drivers already drifting up this racetrack as their right fronts continue to wear here. We'll see that line continue to move up, because even with these cup cars, momentum is the key. Kenny Reel back to the back bumper of Dan Dill, now to the inside. So we'll see if Kenny can complete the pass, because he knows if there's no more yellows, he's got to make up some time and make it up quick to try and catch the next group of cars. As Reel and Dill still side by side here. Reel washed up just a little bit in 1 and 2, trying to miss those bumps down low. Looks like Reel will complete the pass there for P number 7. Out in front, Steve Ritter putting a little bit of distance over Rob Lowell. Now Lowell will gain it right back there. Had a great exit off of turn number 2. Looks like Ritter's driving in a little bit deeper than the 21 machine, but the 21 machine getting a better exit off. Just as I say that, not that time off of turn number 2. Maybe a little bit low, but you see the 21, he's out there trying to search, trying to find the fast line here as we close in on the second half of tonight's first race. Now Jason Wiley trying to get the move done on Dill. Wiley way low, Dill way up the racetrack, so looks like Wiley will easily get that spot. Further on back here, Chris Taylor completing the pass on Eli Raposa. That will put Taylor back into the top 10 here. Then the other Taylor, Matthew Taylor, starting to see some more of the 63 in the rear view. About 0.2 of a second or less between the two. That's usually about 3 car lengths. Now about a car and a half between the two. And getting even closer here as Koss starts to look to the inside of the number 8 machine. Out in front though, Ritter starting to put the distance over the field. Has about half a second advantage over Lowell, and then Pogo trying to hang out about a second and some change back in third. So everyone's starting to get very, very spread out here, second half of the race here, but race leader Steve Ritter out in front. I say let's ride on board with Ritter, see what he's doing to make that car quick around here. And you hear Ritter nice and smooth on the throttle. Seems like very smooth on the wheel. That car going wherever he wants. And can't really see it with this view, but I bet he's got a quote-unquote a string attached to the wheel and the throttle pedal that as he starts unwinding the wheel, that's when he starts rolling into the throttle, because this place can be very, very tricky to put down the power. So 17 to go at the stripe for Ritter, and this battle for 5th still raging on, and Kenny Reel quickly closing on in here. He should get to both these cars before this race is over. The question is, can he make a move? Like all the old sayings go, it's one thing to catch someone, it's a whole nother thing to pass. As speaking about passing, Max Koss trying to work around Matthew Taylor. These guys have been going at it. Max trying his all the last, I want to say 10 laps or so. Just trying to find a way around the 8 here, but starting to run out of time with 15 to go. And Kenny Real closing in quickly. Koss able to complete the pass there in 1 and 2. He's able to jump up to the high lane. It looks like Taylor going to try and cross him over. Can't quite get the run off the corner, so Max Koss up into the top 5 here tonight. Kenny Real starting to get some right front brake low on corner entry, using those brakes, especially with these big rotors and pads on these next gen cars. These things can stop in a hurry if needed, especially with those two not battling in front of him. That's gonna have them pick up their pace, gonna make it even more of a challenge for the 11 to catch them. Ritter into lap traffic here. Gonna put the 46 car 1 lap down, and this time by at the stripe, we'll see 2 open palms from the flagman. It will be 10 to go here in race number 1. Of course, up on deck right after this, these drivers will head to Kentucky Speedway, make the quick virtual flight out there, and battle it out for 30 laps there, and then after that, still one more race to go at the high banks of Daytona to seal things on off and find out who's walking away with the All-Star Cup for season number 5. Right now, though, looking pretty good for this Leaf Guard 16 machine, as he'll see 8 to go here at the line. And he's hoping to start this All-Star Challenge on the right foot with a checkered flag here. Running down the top 5 here, Steve Ritter leading the way with 7 to go. Rob Lowell, pole sitter here tonight, running in second. Jeff Pogo currently in the 3rd position. 4th going to Johnny Barker, hanging on to that spot. And then Max Koss up into the top 5, currently running P number 5. Koss definitely faster than Barker in front of him, but I think not going to have enough time, because that time by Ritter, we'll see now 1 open palm from the flagman at the top of the stand. It is 5 laps to go. Also, some guy that's been flying here the past couple laps, the 13 of Jason Wiley, starting to reel in Kenny Real, but just like Max Koss on Johnny Barker, it looks like just going to be a little too late here when it's all said and done. Maybe even Matt Taylor has figured out something, though. Here comes the 8 car back on the 63 here, so Matt Taylor figuring out something. He figured out a line or some throttle, because he is flying out here compared to the cars around him. Last time was only a 10th off the leader pace. So we might have a 3-car battle here at the very end, but for the leader, popsicle sticks up in the air. 2 laps to go from Nashville Fairgrounds. Steve Ritter out in front, no pressure there. We're going to watch this battle on the final lap here, as Ritter will take the white flag. 1 lap to go. How does it shake out here? 3 cars all under a blanket here for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Looks like we'll be solid there. We'll watch Ritter take the checkered flag here at the stripe. Steve Ritter gonna pick up the first checkered flag of the night off of turn number 4. It looks like Matt Taylor gonna try, gets a little loose, can't quite get it done. So Barker, Koss, and Taylor gonna make up 4th, 5th, and 6th. But how about this, guys? Steve Ritter picking up the first checkered flag of the night. He will bring it down to victory lane. We'll chat with him as we get everyone else ready and situated for race number 2. So we'll get Steve Ritter dialed up here in just 1 second. And while we do, we'll get on ready for race number 2 as well. Those guys will get the session all set, ready to rock and roll. But here we go. We'll try and chat with the winner of race number 1, that being the Leaf Guard number 16 of Steve Ritter. Steve, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
I do, Brett. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself? You got to be feeling pretty good after race number 1 of this All-Star Challenge.
Yeah, not bad. That I did not plan on winning that one, so that's a good start.
Yeah, that is. And first and foremost, I got to know, how was the move and how's everything situated? Hopefully everything's going all right with you with all that quote unquote fun stuff, right?
Yeah, the move was it was way more stressful than I thought. We got a late start, didn't get into Columbus till late. Half the stuff's still in Vermont. It was kind of a mess, to be honest with you. But the sim rig made it, a computer made it, so we're all good in that regard.
Hey, there you go. That's some of the most important stuff coming on in and getting setting on up. And glad to see you back out here, and especially tonight, picking up right where you left off. I mean, making the move on the high side, kind of almost got forced up there with Pogo on the start, but able to make it stick and got clean air. And from there, you didn't look back.
Yeah, that was not planned. Jeff kind of forced me up there a little bit just because he was trying to run behind Rob. And I didn't think the high side would work. And when I saw the opening, I took it and I just stayed up there and let the car rotate through the corner. And yeah, we got it done. Rob actually messaged me. He was right there. I think he was better than me. And I got to thank him for showing me the line here. But he had washed up a couple corners and I think it killed his right front. That's why he kind of fell back there.
Yeah, this place will eat up tires, especially those bumps 1 and 2. And this place not easy by any sort of means in any car. But what'd you kind of figure out there? Because we rode on board with you for a couple laps even, and you made it look smooth out there at a very bumpy and tricky track.
Yeah, 1 and 2, there's that big bump down on the bottom. So I started entering a little bit higher. That helped a lot. And then just getting the car straight off the corners at any short track. That's just key because if that wheel's turned, you'll spin the thing out. So light on the throttle and just getting the wheel straight out of the corner.
Yeah, that's what we were riding on board with your dash. So not looking at your wheel, but I could tell riding on board with you. I said it's like you have a string attached to your wheel, right, with your throttle. And as you start to unwind the wheel, you can start rolling into the throttle.
Yeah, hey, that's exactly it. Yep.
Alrighty, Steve. Well, still 2 more races on the docket. Nashville, that box is checked. Walking away with the checkered flag. How we feeling with Kentucky and then the wild card of Daytona?
Well, Daytona's Daytona. I hate super speedway racing. I wish they'd get rid of it. But Kentucky, we'll see. I like this track. I haven't run a lap here, so this will be the first lap I run right here in practice. But Rob said it's loose, and if it's loose, that's good for me. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, always a loose car is a fun car, I like to say. Puts a little bit more in the driver's hand with just going out there and wheeling the thing.
It definitely does, yeah, and I like that. These cars are generally really tight, so having a loose setup here at Kentucky may work to my advantage a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, Steve, awesome job on race number 1, picking up the checkered flag. So we'll let you do the part that you know pretty well, especially chatting with you with the first part of the season and all that good stuff. who out there would you like to give a shout out to, either on the crew car or maybe some folks watching at home?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all my teammates at Wolfpack, all the sponsors, Riptide Radio, of course, BG Graphics, everyone that's involved in sponsoring us, and then you for doing the broadcast, obviously.
Alrighty, well, awesome, Steve. Good luck in the next two races. I'm sure we may be talking to you again here, depending on this Kentucky setup. But yeah, man, keep up the good work. Always great watching you out there, and keep on putting on a good show.
Thank you, sir. You too, Brett.
Alrighty, folks, that was our winner from race number one, and currently leading the all-star points. It is Steve Ritter walking away with the checkered flag, and always a great time talking with Steve. Always enjoy doing some bench racing with him and chatting him on up. So great to see that out there for that 16 crew and everyone with that. But let's run through the finishing results really quick for race number one, and we'll head on over to Kentucky here in just 1 second. But Steve Ritter picking up the checkered flag here in race number one. Rob Lowe will bring it home second. Jeff Pogo will round out the podium positions, finishing MP number 3. Fourth will be Johnny Barker, and rounding out the top 5, Max Cost will hang on to 5th. 6th going to Matthew Taylor. 7th is Kenny Reel. 8th is Jason Wiley. 9th going to Dan Dill. Rounding out the top 10 will be Chris Taylor. Taylor only car there with some damage from our only yellow flag. And then rounding out the field from Nashville Fairgrounds will be Eli Raposa. So we'll be right back here as we load up into the next session. But don't go anywhere. We'll be talking to some more drivers during practice and having a good time with this All-Star Triple Check Challenge. We'll be right back.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we head on over, and just like that, we aren't in Kansas anymore. We're at Kentucky Motor Speedway here for race number 2 of the All-Star Triple Check Challenge. And like I mentioned before, tonight, going to be 30 laps around this joint. And as cars continue to put on laps, it looks like we do have some more drivers here for race number 2. Looks like Bryce Shoemaker will be joining the fun, as well as the 33 of Austin Smith coming on in. So both of those guys gonna have, I should say both those guys joining in on the fun, because this is cool stuff here. I always love a challenge for any sort of driver, and tonight these drivers definitely having that with the 3 very, very different tracks here at Kentucky. You know, got the typical 1.5 D-shaped oval that we don't see Kentucky ran anymore because sitting out there in no man's land. But maybe here for practice and maybe even qualifying, we'll try and grab a word with a driver. I think we might try and talk to this guy. Has had a pretty consistent run here towards the end, and that is the 81 machine. Actually, let me double check, make sure that we haven't chatted with him before as I go through all the fun results here. Yeah, looks like have not chatted with him, so if he has an early qualifying run, we'll chat with him after qualifying. We'll let him at least get in the zone for that. But here we go, 13 cars getting ready to do battle here at Kentucky. But first, before any on-track battling can happen, we got to run through another qualifying. As we look to the 81 Bills Mafia machine, this is Dan Dills. So, like I said, if he gets in a quick lap here, we'll try and talk to him after, because Dan has been on a pretty hot streak recently, just outside, if not just inside the top 5 for the last couple weeks here. So, and most of those, especially like Texas, started deep in the field and made his way up, you know, 10 plus spots to end up where he finished in. So starting to get in the stride with these cars. But Dill at the stripe goes on the clock here for lap number 1. We'll float it through turns 1 and 2, and you can see here very, very wide, but at least in qualifying, you want to hit the bottom as well as you can. If you can do that, usually a pretty solid lap when it's all said and done. As it looks like Jeff Poga right now with the best time here, a 31.12. Dill first lap 31.34. Times are very, very tight in the top 3 so far, and everyone else out on track. So we're going to get a lot of times in very, very quickly here in just 1 second, as lap times here, even 30 laps, will be fairly quick here tonight, as lap times just over 30 seconds to get around this Kentucky Speedway, as Dill will cross the stripe for lap number 2 and go quick time. We'll break the 31 second mark and head down into 30.98 from the 81. That is a great lap from Dan Dill. And you know what? We'll try and get a word with the driver of that 81 machine here and see what he has to say with that lap time, as well as talking a little bit about his season. As we'll try and jump to other drivers maybe out on track, but we'll see if we can get a word with the 81 of Dan Dill as we take a look at Steve Ritter for lap number 2, lap number 1 for the 16. 31.07, very good first lap. And off of turn number 4 for the final time, we'll keep an eye on this. Ritter to the stripe. Can he find any more speed? He will, but only be good enough for Pete number 3. So looks like I believe everyone but maybe one car has a shot at quick time, but we're going to talk to him here, even if it's a little bit early. The driver of the 81 machine of Dan Dill. Dan, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, man. Well, wanted to talk to you a little bit here, even before qualifying, but man, you threw down a heck of a lap, a sub 31. I mean, where'd you find that speed?
The track picked up a lot in between practice and qualifying. In practice, I wasn't necessarily having to shift to fifth, and in qualifying, it was on the rev limiter on the first lap. So, yeah, it picked up, and I just kind of went with it.
Wow, that's awesome. And of course, with that speed still making it stick, because here at Kentucky, this car can take off on you, doesn't have a lot of banking. It's a little deceptive because it's a fairly wide track, but that banking, can only help the car so much with the speeds around here, it seems like.
Yeah, the trick is I mean, if the front end starts to cut loose, you just got to get out of it. You can't keep trying to, on, off. You got to just let it rotate.
Alrighty, some good insight there. Appreciate that. And I want to talk a little bit about your season, especially the last, I want to say, 3 races or so, on a little bit of a hot streak of finishing inside that top 10 and making your way in the positive direction through these fields. I mean, how's your season gone, and what's kind of helped this momentum here those last couple weeks?
It's actually really simple. I tend to like to run easy for the first half of the race. So I'll be in the back. And in the first few races, there was a lot of guys that didn't understand the rules, didn't understand where to be. And I was getting caught up in other messes. The field has kind of thinned out a bit. And now I'm starting more in the top 15. And it's making it to where I can hang around for the first half and then go at the end.
Yeah, and that's always some great racing that we love to see at any sort of league or any racing, guys that can manage their stuff and then, through the longer runs can get where they need to go. And would you say you're definitely a long run guy? I would probably think that as well.
Actually, it's the opposite. I'm not a long run guy, so I have to kind of take care of the car, not bang it up and stuff in the first half, because I wear out the right front notoriously.
Yeah, it's very, very easy to do, especially in the sim world. That's why I tell people from day one is you'll burn off that right front before you even realize it with this game, with not being, not having the G-forces or the feel. But you can get fairly close with some stuff, but it's definitely something that has to be on your mind 110% of the time.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, Dan. Well, while we got you here, I always like to ask drivers, what's your sim setup like? What do you got in front of you? What are you looking at? All that good stuff to get a little insight.
Track racer rig, Moza ecosystem. I have all the shifters and handbrakes and pedals and everything. I got a Stream Deck and I run some Sim Hub software. I think there's like a total of like 7 monitors around me, plus 2 tablets.
Nice. Definitely got a sweet setup then. As always, never enough information for a driver, right?
I prefer the term. I like a lot of overkill. I like to overdo it.
There you go. Well, Dan, once again, big congrats on the pole, leading the field to green. One last question before we let you go and, thank who you got to thank. But last question here. What are the goals for this season? All-star race here tonight. A little bit of having some fun, no points, but looking at the big picture for the big, long 22 race season.
First and foremost, I just wanted to meet some new guys, get to know some new faces, and get to race with some different people. Some of these guys I've raced with in other leagues and stuff, and I just wanted to kind of get to know some new guys and get some good racing in.
Yeah, and that you're definitely getting here. And yeah, man, before we let you go, it looks like about to get rolling real quick. Who do you got to thank or maybe give a shout out to here on the broadcast?
I just want to thank, the league for putting it on, and my wife and kids for giving me the time to do this, and Jeff Pogo, my teammate. Eric and Steve aren't here tonight.
Alrighty, Dan. Well, awesome job on the pole here. Good luck in race number 2. Go put on a good show. It was good talking to you.
All right, tell Roger I said hi.
All right, will do. As we'll get him out of here and get ready to go green flag racing as the iRacing pace car heads down pit road, and Dan Dill leading the field out to green as it is Max Cost to the outside. And here we go. Dill gets away with a great start. I think Cost may have been worried about jumping that start. Has to back way on up. That will check up the outside lane a ton here as Dill will get away cleanly down low. And here we go, lap 1 of 30. Did not run through the starting order here tonight, but that's okay because we'll show where everyone's at here on the left side of your screen. So Dan Dill leading the way, Steve Ritter picking up the first checkered flag, running in second. Jeff Pogo up into third. Max Koss losing a couple positions. Did start on the front row, now down into fourth. And then Bryce Shoemaker, not out there for race number 2, but out here for, not out there for race number 1, but out here for race number 2 and inside the top 5 here. Then in 6th is car number 6, Johnny Barker, currently running in 6th. 7th is Chris Taylor. 8th is the 8 car of Matthew Taylor. 9th, Jason Wiley. 10th, Eli Raposa. Rob Lowell in 11th. 12th is Kenny Reel, and then Austin Smith, another driver, jumping in for race number 2, rounding out the pack here as we got some side-by-side racing. For that 5th position is Johnny Barker trying to go around the high side. Barker will have the momentum. Here comes now Chris Taylor getting some help from Matthew Taylor. But these drivers fanning on out, almost 3 wide racing here early as lap number 3 down over to lap number 4 of 30. So you thought the 50 lapper was a shootout. Even less laps here. Going to be about the same actually time to get the race done. But here tonight, of course, no fast repairs here. So depending on how hard you race the cars around you, you have to make sure you take that car home in one piece. As we see Dill sliding back just a little bit there. One car very loose off of turn number 4. As Dill hanging on to the outside of Max Koss. He will hang on to P number 3 at the moment, but out in front, here comes Jeff Pogo to the inside of Steve Ritter for the lead. So Ritter took the lead away from Dill. Now here comes Pogo. Maybe a little bit of contact between the two of them just as they dive into turn number 3. Pogo out of sorts there. Same with Koss. Koss has to save it. Barker, evasive maneuvers. Somehow they don't make contact and wreck, but now it's a 3-car battle as Dill will get into Ritter. Ritter with a heck of a save. They're still not done as Ritter will go hard into the wall. They will wreck around him. Shoemaker, Dill, Austin Smith, all involved here as we get our first yellow here 5 laps in. And man, I thought Ritter might have been all right. Heck of a save for the first one, but the wreck was not over, let's say, because then the second one happens there and collects a whole bunch of cars here as we see cars head down to pit road to get some of those repairs done. But it looks like Ritter going to have a tall order here as that right front very, very loose. Looks like a broken control arm for the 16. His night might be done here, and that could be a big blow for that all-star bragging rights. As we see Ritter head in tow to pits, but here we already get them sideways, so we're going to try and back up just a little bit more. But you'll see them also reckon to the left side of your screen and then come right across the nose of Ritter. As we'll try and find maybe a little bit further back. So the initial contact there with the 16 and the 81, then everyone trying to make evasive maneuvers, let's say, trying to get themselves figured out. Then the 6 of Barker trying to get to the inside of the 16, make secondary contact, and then what kind of happens down low? Oh, it's still that's a little bit slow, and then Shoemaker to the back of him, Cost into the back of Shoemaker, and then Austin Smith just trying to do some wreck avoidance. Same with Jason Wiley. They will pile on in as well. So about a 6-car wreck here. That involves most of the field here at the moment because we have, let's see, about 7 cars down on pit road. So pretty much half the field getting some sort of damage out here tonight. So if Steve Ritter is done for the night, then we got to start looking at the likes of Jeff Pogo or Rob Lowell to walk away with this All-Star Triple Check Challenge crown. But luckily for these drivers getting repairs on pit road, caution laps are not counting, so they can sit on pit road as long as they need, get those repairs done, and try and come out on the speedways. You see Shoemaker, quite a bit of front end damage to that WeatherTech 54. Looks like Wiley and Ritter both still down on pit road here. Looks like field doubling back up, so here we go again. Jeff Pogo leading the field to green, and to his outside, the number 8 of Matt Taylor. And maybe with a restart here, cars all bunched up, you know, some good racing action. We'll maybe do a little turn 3, turn it up while we got everyone together here. Once we at least make it through turn number 1. But if we do that, we'll let the cars do some talking, and I'll take a break from yapping up here. But here we go. Pogo gonna lead the field to green in the 97. Matt Taylor to his outside. Then row number 2, Chris Taylor and Rob Lowell. As the field will get on here, and here we go. 24 to go as we go back. Green flag racing. Looks like Austin Smith and Steve Ritter still down on pit road, but Matt Taylor trying to defend on the high side from Chris Taylor will do that. Matt Taylor now looking for the race lead. He'll go to the inside of Pogo. Side-by-side battle for the race lead here off of turn number 4. Taylor's going to get a little bit loose here. Pogo going to have the momentum here and just lead by half a car length at the stripe. Great battling up front, but here we go. We're going to let the cars do the talking. A little turn 3, turn it up as they battle for the race lead. Matt Taylor, Jeff Pogo duking it out for the race lead here. Taylor was finding something up on the top lane, now going back to the bottom to the inside of Pogo. Then battle for third between Johnny Barker and Chris Taylor. So Matt Taylor out in the point here in race number 2 with 20 laps to go. These two have been duking it out here for the last 4 laps since that restart. We'll see if Taylor can get on away, but definitely draft heavy here tonight, as you'll see drivers fall in line with the car in front of them down the straightaways, get a big run, and then duck out of line and can really run any line they want besides up against the wall in those marbles. But anywhere else is pretty much fair game around Kentucky here. As the top 5 starting to check on out, as here comes Kenny Reel up 8 positions from where he started, missed that big one, and now looking pretty sporty as he puts the pressure on Chris Taylor for 4th. Kenny Reel gonna have a run, look to the inside. Taylor gonna chop his nose on off, take it all the way down to that inside lane. Reel gonna sail it in there deep to get to the inside. They'll drag race down the backstretch here. Reel down low. Chris Taylor up top. Out in front, though, Matthew Taylor continuing to hold the point, has almost made contact there in 3 and 4 as Kenny Reel loses that front end just a little bit. Single file here for the most part of the field here. Looks like last car out on the speedway, that damaged 54 machine, just trying to do laps here. That is Bryce Shoemaker with that heavy front end damage. Eli Raposa 9th, Dan Dill 8th, Max Cost 7th, Rob Lowell 6th, and then Kenny Reel making up the top 5 as once again battle for the race lead. Here comes Jeff Pogo once again to the inside of Matt Taylor. Pogo's going to have the shorter distance, able to get back in front, but Matt Taylor going to have a big run here, as this time by at the stripe, we will see cross flags for race number 2. Halfway down, halfway to go here as Jeff Pogo back out in front, but Matt Taylor not making it easy all over the back bumper of the 97. We'll see what he can do as Taylor tries to get some of that clean air to the inside of Pogo. You can hear him working that throttle, trying to get a run as we ride on board with 2nd position here. Taylor, especially in 1 and 2, has found something here up on the high side, but it looks like we get a yellow flag here out on the speedway, so that's going to slow the pace here once again, and we're going to try and figure out what brought the yellow flag out for the 2nd time here tonight. Looks like a slow rolling 81 machine here against the wall, so looks like Dan Dill up into the marbles. We're going to try and figure out what happened, but a tough break for our pole sitter here tonight. Looks like going to have an early end at Kentucky, and who would have guessed? Everyone, I think, had on their bingo card that Daytona was going to be the wild card, but it looks like Kentucky going to be a wild card here as well. As, oh man, Chris Taylor out of sorts, and holy moly, what a violent hit. He'll come across the track, collect the 21 machine, and it looks like Max Cost, trying to avoid the wreck, will also slam the wall, and Dan Dill will get a little bit more for good measure. But wow, that started with the 69 of Chris Taylor, and once again a big multi-car wreck, and that was a lot of big hits for a lot of different drivers. So we're going to try and jump back full speed, see what happens. Chris Taylor already out of sorts, but you can see just how big that hit was for the 69 machine. Holy moly. As don't quite see what happened. Gonna try and jump back a little bit further and see. As oh man, it looks like maybe Taylor does make contact with Koss, but man, some violent hits here at Kentucky. You know, you expect to see those hits maybe at Daytona or something like that, but very reminiscent of maybe the Eric Almirola wreck. For at least big hit wise at these mile and a halves, because man, some drivers took some schlackens there. As looks like now down to 5 cars left in tonight's race for race number 2, and don't go anywhere because we still got one more left. The big wild card, even more of a wild card than this one here, will be Daytona for a 15-lap shootout. As with that involving Rob Lowell and some of those other drivers, you know, from race number 1, now we can really look at the likes of maybe Jeff Pogo, Johnny Barker, and even now Matt Taylor's going to be in the conversation, because I believe Taylor finished 6th in race number 1. Right now running in that 2nd position, trying to get that win from Pogo here. So just over halfway in. I think that second caution coming out with contact with the 11 and the 69, but that 69 definitely had to do that virtual infield care center, because man, that was some big time hits for that driver. As it looks like we get ready to rock and roll here once again. 16 laps completed, 14 to go once we go back green flag racing, and should be, I think, 13 to go once we get the green flag, but 5 undamaged cars out here at the moment. So once again, going to be Jeff Pogo leading the field for the restart. Matt Taylor going to be to his outside. Johnny Barker will restart in 3rd. 4th going to Kenny Reel. And then Eli Raposa hanging on in there. Will restart in a top 5 spot in 5th. The iRacing pace car heads down to pit road, and here we go. 97 machine once again going to try and get a good restart. We'll see though how Matt Taylor can wind up that number 8 on the high side. Like I've said before, he seems to have something figured out, especially in 1 and 2 on the high lane. So Pogo going to be able to clear everyone out in front by himself. Looks like Taylor should just get clear of Barker. Barker right there, right on the back bumper of the number 8 machine, as Taylor going to look to the high side of Pogo as they dive into turn number 3. Off of turn number 4, they come to the stripe, and it looks like side-by-side battle for 2nd. If there's one thing Pogo wants to see our race leader, is these guys duking it out for 2nd. Barker going to try and wrap the bottom, going to slide right across the nose of Taylor. Going to get a piece of the wall, send them both down the speedway, as Barker now definitely has a little bit of right front damage, but that kills all the momentum for the number 8 car, slots him back all the way to 5th now. As now here comes Kenny Reel to the inside of Johnny Barker. Going to be Reel and Barker for P number 2. Reel going to have the shorter distance around the speedway. See what kind of momentum the 6 car has, but does have that damage. I mean, how much does that slow up the 6 car now, as he was pushing it everything ahead there to try and get around the number 8 car for 2nd. Just used up maybe a little bit too much. As that time by, we see 10 laps to go for Jeff Pogo out in front. Now the question is, does Kenny Reel have enough in the tank to reel in Jeff Pogo? Then Matt Taylor back on the back bumper of Johnny Barker. I think Barker definitely having some damage affecting that number 6 machine, because his pace definitely about 0.2 of a second off, if not more, than the cars around him. So that's the good old iRacing, keeping that car clean, because any sort of damage on these cars will slow you right on down with the damage model. So there's two things you're always thinking of, especially in NASCAR racing. It's first and foremost, keeping that right front underneath you at all times, making sure you don't heat that thing up, wear it on out, because that makes for a very unpleasant driving experience very quickly. And then the other thing, keeping that car as clean as you can out of the walls, off of other cars, because it will slow you down in a hurry. And now Barker under fire from Raposa. Eli going to be to the inside here through 3 and 4. Barker going to be up top. Once again, make the pass and look easy on that damage number 6 machine. So Eli Raposa up in the top 5, now up into 4th here tonight. That's going to be a great finish for that 46 machine and the 8 as well. You know, both those cars with W sponsorship, but big time race of attrition for race number 2. Can only imagine what to expect for our 15 lap shootout at Daytona, but that's coming up right here, right after the conclusion of this one. Out in front though, Jeff Pogo still with the advantage over Kenny Reel, still about half a second, but that time buying 1 and 2. Kenny Reel picking up a whole 1/10 of a second, so if he can do that every lap here, he'll have one shot at Pogo before it's all said and done. Reel a little bit lower through the corners than Jeff Pogo, and I think that's helping the 11 car make up that time needed here with 5 laps to go now at the stripe. Now within 0.3 of a second, Kenny Reel is to Jeff Pogo. Also for third, battling heating on up as Eli Raposa catching the back bumper of Matt Taylor. Now Reel has to be really smart, get the draft down the straightaways, get the clean air on corner entry to get that nose set, but Jeff Pogo probably going to try the Joey Logano of Kevin Harvick and just try and block and put as much dirty air as he can on the nose of Kenny Reel. Further on back though, Eli Raposa, Matt Taylor going at it for a podium position here. Raposa down low, Taylor up top. Raposa's gonna have the advantage here at the stripe. Does Taylor have enough for run to cross him on over? It looks like no, so Eli Raposa up into P number 3 here. Heck of a run by the 46. Yeah, looks like Raposa gonna check on out, so out in front, popsicle sticks up in the air. 2 laps to go for Jeff Pogo leading the way over Kenny Reel. Reel got to about that 0.3 of a second and then kind of stalled on out. It looks like Pogo turning it back up just a little bit that time. 0.5 tenth better than Kenny Reel. So Pogo's doing everything he needs to do here, and he just wants to see that white flag, because once he sees that, this race is going to the checkered as Jeff Pogo, 1 lap to go for the 97. Kenny Reel continues to fade. I think used up most of his stuff trying to get to the 97. Just won't be enough for Kenny Reel. Down the backstretch, they will go for the final time of race number 2 here tonight at Kentucky, and through 3 and 4. He will pick up the checkered flag and pick up the overall standings as Jeff Pogo picks up the win here at Kentucky for race number 2. and takes the lead in the All-Star Triple Track Challenge. So we will get a word with Jeff Pogo here in 1 second. And then these guys going to try and head over to Daytona here before we know it. But have talked to this guy quite a bit so far this season. He leads the regular season points. Now going to lead the All-Star standing points as well. As we'll try and chat with the winner of race number 2. It will be the 97 machine of Jeff Pogo. Jeff, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, buddy, I got you.
Alrighty, man. Who would have thought Kentucky was going to be the race of attrition with Daytona slotted up next?
Yeah, who knew, right?
Yeah, man, but overall, picking up that checkered flag here, that car looked very, very quick. You know, you had a great battle with Matt there, and yeah, that thing looked good. I mean, even at Nashville, that thing looked good, but here tonight, able to walk away and, you know, lead now the All-Star format. How we feeling?
I would say I felt good, except for going to a super speedway, and I hate these things, so probably gonna die.
Yeah, no fast repair at a super speedway. I mean, what could go wrong?
Everything.
Yeah, and especially since it's a 15-lap race, you know, no sense of urgency right from the drop of the green flag either.
Right, everyone's gonna want to go, so you don't know if you want to stay in the back and try to avoid a wreck, or do you just go?
Yeah, that will be the big decision because even if you sit in the back, you make it to the white flag, you know the wreck's going to happen and no one's going to lift at that point. So, I
Yep.
mean, I don't know if you can say too much about your strategy, but what is your thought process going into Daytona here?
Just go out and win the thing is my plan. I don't really have a strategy.
There you go. You know, you tend to miss most of the wrecks if you're out in front, but I mean, even Daytona this year kind of showed that that could also not be the factor with that wreck down the backstretch.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's such a short race. Being at the back, you might not even be able to get to the front.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a lot of stuff for you guys all to manage, but so far managing the first 2 races, you know, Nashville had a solid finish. How'd you think of that car track combo? I know a very, very tricky track. And then of course here at Kentucky, another one that's a little bit more driver because it seemed like it was fairly loose as well.
Yeah, it was. I didn't like that Nashville's so bumpy, especially off 2. I don't really care for that track, but then I guess I haven't ran Kentucky in a while, but I was telling Dan how smooth it is, man. I love it. And then you could actually use the throttle to steer it out of the corner. So that kind of fit my style a little bit.
Yeah, this track definitely a fairly fun one. You know, people always think of Kansas as the ultimate mile and a half, but Kentucky still had some decent racing. I know it's a very hit or miss for the real life stuff to come on back. I mean, how do you rank this track of the mile and a halves out there on the sim?
It was pretty good. Is it a mile and a half? I don't know if it's a mile and a half, mile. I couldn't even tell you. But pretty good track. I wish we could have had a long green flag run because I like that battle that I was having there with Matt. That was a good one. So
Yeah, that was you two racing very, very well next to each other. And would you kind of learn to finally get around Matt? Because it seemed like he had something figured out, especially the high lane in 1 and 2.
I didn't really know. It's kind of tricky. Didn't really have enough practice and enough race to really know what was going on. I could just kind of pick apart where I was a little better than him. 3 and 4, I was definitely better. I'd get the run down the front straight. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here. But you know, Taylor had a pretty good run last time. So
Yeah, it should be a good one. Well, Jeff, always chatting with you. It seems like after most of these, you know, you're leading the points for the regular season standings currently, as I said, you know, 6 races in. Now you're leading the All-Star Challenge. I mean, looking pretty good for you this season. So I mean, man, gotta be feeling good. I never feel that great going into Daytona, but at least after all the calamity there, can hopefully go in with a little bit less stress. But overall season, I mean, how are we feeling even after tonight?
Pretty good. Just gonna try to keep the momentum going. That's all we can do.
That is the key. Keep everything in your hands going in the right direction, and usually, especially with a little help from some luck, usually turns out halfway decent.
Yeah, for sure.
Alrighty, Jeff. Well, always a great time chatting with you. Before we let you go and get dialed on in for Daytona, I mean, once again, gonna hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank for the stellar first part of this season and starting off this All-Star Challenge on a great foot as well.
You know what? I always thank everybody else. I'm gonna thank myself for not sucking.
There you go.
That's all I got on that.
Alrighty, Jeff. Well, best of luck to you, Daytona. Hopefully, we don't see you in the infield care center and maybe even on the front stretch after it.
Yeah, I hope so. I just hope to make it to the end.
Alrighty, Jeff. Well, good luck.
All right, buddy.
Alrighty, folks. That was the winner of race number 2, Jeff Pogo. And always a great time chatting up with Jeff. You know, have had quite a bit of chances to talk to him after these races here with the finishes that he's had. And even tonight, you know, picking up another checker flag, looking pretty good. But anything can happen where we're going to next, and that is, of course, Daytona. So let's run through the finishing results real quick for race number 2, and then get us on over for Daytona for a 15-lap shootout, as the race results from Kentucky look like the following. Jeff Pogo, we were just chatting with him, will pick up the win, finishing in second, going all the way from, I believe, 13th to second is the 11 car of Kenny Real. Eli Raposa rounding out the podium positions. Heck of a run by him. Matt Taylor also having a really good run, battling for the lead at one point. Probably got a little bit of damage. Able to hang on to 4th, and rounding out the top 5 will be Johnny Barker. Finishing in 6th is Bryce Shoemaker. 7th going to Chris Taylor with a vicious wreck. 8th is Rob Lowell. 9th going to Max Koss. Rounding out the top 10 is Dan Dill. 11th is Jason Wiley. 12th, Steve Ritter. And then finishing P number 13 is Austin Smith. So that will do it here for race number 2. And we'll jump into that virtual jet, make the very, very quick trip to Daytona. And we'll be right back after another quick commercial break.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, we come back here to Daytona International Speedway during the day and get ready to let some cars rip. But first, we'll be chatting with another driver that get a little bit more insight about. And I believe we got the 13 of Jason Wiley dialed on up. We'll see if he has a copy. Jason, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yes, sir. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
It's been rough this last race.
Yeah, I would not have guessed Kentucky was going to be the race of attrition. I thought that was going to be this one right here.
Well, I thought Nashville would be, because I kind of started in the back, so we kind of took it easy to begin with, thinking people would kind of take themselves out, and nobody really did after that first caution. So we were behind the 8 ball from that one.
Yeah, because even at Nashville, it seemed like you definitely had some speed, especially towards the end. I mean, you were catching Kenny Real there pretty quick. If you just had maybe, 5 to 10 more laps, you could have definitely mixed it up with that pack forming right in front of you.
Yeah, it took a while for me to get rid of or get around. I forgot who was in front of me there. But me and Kenny kind of got stuck behind him for a little bit. Then once we got around him, we made some room.
Yeah, it looked pretty good, but yeah, sadly Kentucky, two very big kind of accidents, and both multi car. You of course caught up in one of those. So what does that kind of make the game plan going forward for Daytona? I mean, 15 laps. Yeah. I don't blame it, because 15 laps, not a lot of time, but no fast repair, so it's going to be crazy.
Thinking the best place to be is going to be up front, so we're gonna send it and see what happens.
Alrighty, sounds like a plan. Usually 9 times out of 10 the wreck doesn't happen up front, but you never know, especially with these cup cars, very, very drafty. So I like the game plan of just sending it.
Well, thank you.
And I always like to ask real quick while I got you, I always like to learn a little bit about the drivers there, what they got in front of them. So what kind of setup do you have? What do you have? Maybe wheel pedals? What are you looking at?
I got Fanatec. I got the V3 pedals, and I got the Club Sport base.
Nice. Those are some good pedals there, and Fanatec stuff. Usually pretty good. So
I'd like to upgrade eventually to the direct drive, but this is good for me right now.
Oh yeah. I heard that's kind of the ultimate stuff, especially even on the dirt. Really being able to feel those small bumps and stuff like that is always, I heard, pretty good.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Well, Jason, looks like you're about to get rolling here in qualifying. So before we let you go and get a flying lap here at full throttle around Daytona, we'll hand over the mic to you. Anyone you want to give a shout out to on the broadcast, whether teammates, sponsors, maybe people watching?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Kenny here. That's my teammate. I was hoping the other ones would show up, but they didn't. The sponsor is LegacyMakerSports.com. I do photography for them, so I always want to give them a shout out as well.
Awesome stuff. Well, Jason, always a great time talking to you. Good luck here in qualifying as you head down the super stretch, and maybe we'll be talking to you after this crazy 15-lap shootout.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for broadcasting here, and shout out to Raw for putting all this together.
Yep, for sure. He does an awesome job and always puts on some good racing. So good luck to you, Jason. Hopefully we'll see you on the other side.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Alrighty, folks. That was Jason Wiley in the number 13 machine, getting a quick word with him as he comes to take his first time lap. So the 13 machine goes on the clock for the longest qualifying time of the night. These times will be right around the 50-second mark here to make it around this 2.5-mile speedway. As, whoa, man, I have never seen that camera shot before. TV2 a little bit broken here at Daytona, apparently, as we look up into the nothingness. As Jason Wiley down the super stretch for the first time here, under time qualifying. He'll head through 3 and 4, and looks like right now, though, Bryce Shoemaker with the quick time here. Shoemaker and Lowell almost identical lap times there with a 49.98, Wiley able to go 50.27 lap number 1, but you kind of saw a run in the middle of the high lane trying to wind it on up. Same with his teammate Kenny Reel. Lap number 2 is going to be where it's at here for most of these drivers here tonight. Down the backstretch here for the final time for the 13 machine. And look at that, Kenny Reel lap number 2. First lap a throwaway, second lap all the way quick time for the number 11 machine. He's able to throw down a 49.95, and that is a heck of a lap as our final time car, Jason Wiley, to the stripe. He will improve to 9th with a 50.09, and just look how close those times are from 1st to 11th, all separated by less than 0.2 of a second. So very, very awesome stuff there, as that will pretty much do it here from qualifying, and we'll get ready to head on over to our 15-lap shootout and the final race of the night here at Daytona. So here tonight for the final starting order of the All-Star Challenge, this is what it comes down to here, as the 11 of Kenny Reel will lead the field to green flag, and to his outside will be the 54. That is Bryce Shoemaker rolling off P number 2. Then in row number 2 to the inside will be the 21 machine of Rob Lowell, and to his outside his teammate is the 6 of Johnny Barker. Steve Ritter will round out the top 5 in the 16 with Eli Raposa in the 46 rolling off 6th. 7th going to the 8 car, that is Matthew Taylor. And to his outside rolling off 8th will be the 63 of Max Cost. 9th going to the Jason Wiley. 10th is Jeff Pogo. Then the final row will be made up of Chris Taylor rolling off 11th, and starting shotgun on the field will be the 81 of Dan Dill. So that will do it here tonight for the final lineup, and I am going to go. We may try and check out the standings if we can. We may have to go to a quick commercial so I can pull the right things up on screen. So not going to miss anything here as cars will pace on around, get ready to go green. So we'll throw it to a quick commercial so we can see the standings, see what drivers need to finish where to end things on off. But we'll be right back here after a quick 30-second break. Alrighty, the field makes it down the straightaway, and we got the stands up. So we'll talk about those once we go green flag racing, but Jeff Pogo leads it over Steve Ritter. We'll talk about points here in a minute, but pretty much Jeff Pogo needs a fairly bad finish. But we'll see what unfolds for 15 laps. It's going to be a 15-lap shootout to end the All-Star Triple Track Challenge on the front row. Kenny Reel leading the field to green. To his outside will be Bryce Shoemaker. The iRacing pace car heads to pit road, and here we go, folks. No fast repair. These drivers going to have to finish with the car they start with, and here we go. Kenny Reel out in front, but doesn't have the help. Outside lane formed up a little bit better. Shoemaker will probably take over the point down the backstretch. So here we go, 2 by 2 for the whole field at the moment, but that probably won't last too long here, as this race these drivers know they need to go. As Shoemaker out in front, Rob Lowe will go around, same with Steve Ritter. Ritter goes around, looks like Real and Lowell halfway decent, doesn't look like too much damage. The car with the most damage might be that of Steve Ritter, and looks like Ritter gonna call it a night there. Lap number 1, bringing out the first yellow. We're gonna try and see what brought it on out here as the field tries to catch the back of the pace car here. And it looks like maybe 3 wide. Maybe looks like a little bit of a push gone wrong from the 16 machine, and then just trying to check on up. Looks like Matt Taylor will get into the right rear quarter as, yeah, you see them trying to get formed up, and Ritter just gets to the left rear of Rob Lowell. That will send him across the track, and then Ritter will get tagged in the right rear. Matt Taylor just having nowhere to go, and luckily looks like Jason Wiley able to squeak on through. Same with Chris Taylor, Jeff Pogo, and Dan Dill. So 3-car incident gonna take the claim of just one, though, as everyone else still out on track. 11 cars there, but looking over at the standings, Jeff Pogo currently leads the way with 89 points. Steve Ritter was in second with 81, but looks like Ritter gonna call it a night, so will not improve on that. Then the next closest will be the 21 machine of Rob Lowell with 80 points, so needs to beat Jeff Pogo by 9 positions. It's going to be a tall order to do, especially with 11 cars out there. Field's going to have to hope Pogo's involved in the next wreck or have a really, really bad finish coming to the line to have a shot. Then behind Lowell in 4th position, we have 3 cars tied for 4th right now. It is Johnny Barker, Matthew Taylor, and Kenny Reel all sitting with 79 points. So 1 point back from Rob Lowell. So it is anyone's game with that. And then sitting in 7th in points, tied together, as well as Eli Raposa and Max Koss. So all those guys right there on top of each other coming into tonight in the final race here at Daytona. So this will set the order for a lot of cars by the end of this one. So with caution laps not counting, you see Kenny Reel back out in front. That is because it goes back to the last completed lap. And I think since that wreck was on lap number 1, we pretty much go back to a original lineup with Reel out in front, Shoemaker second, Lowell and Barker 3rd and 4th. So going to be pretty much a complete restart of the field with pretty much the same starting order minus Steve Ritter. So I believe this time by we should get the one to go. If we don't, we'll try and chat with a driver if we can. But if it goes one to go, want to let these drivers get into the zone, get their comms ready with their teammates, what they're trying to do, what the game plan is. Because as we saw there, already go time from the drop of the green flag with 15 lap shootout. So the lights do go out on the iRacing pace car. Looks like Kenny Reel will elect the outside lane here, so that will put Shoemaker down on the inside lane. Reel probably saw the run the high side got, said, I want to be leading that freight train. So Kenny Real going to lead us to the green flag from the high side here. As we approach about half a lap till going back to the green flag racing action. So far, all cars but one still out and running. It looks like Dan Dill coming down, get some repairs done on the 81 machine. As he will look to tag the back of the field. Alright, so here we go. Restart number one. Getting ready to rock and roll. Kenny Real gonna lead the field to green on the high side as the iRacing pace car heads down pit road. Kenny Real gonna have Johnny Barker pushing him. It looks like once again high side gets a great restart. Already formed up very, very well up top. As it looks like Kenny Real gonna stay to the high side now, heads to the middle here. Gonna get some help from Johnny Barker. You see the bump drafting going on. And you have to be so precise with that bump drafting, especially with these next-gen Cup cars. These rear bumpers are fairly round, especially around the edges, so gotta be sure you push right in that middle Camaro logo if you can, because any sort of wrong push, I mean, we saw it there early, can create chaos in a hurry as everyone's single filed on out here with already 10 laps to go here at the stripe. You see Rob Lowell jumping out of line there, going to the inside. Gonna get some help, it looks like, from the 13 of Wiley. Looks like Raposa might have just bounced it off the wall there, heading into turn number one, but right now it seems like the high lane's where it is at. As old man Shoemaker and Matt Taylor almost go for a big ride there. Luckily, they're able to hang on to it, but lose a ton of momentum because here goes most of those cars from the high lane going on by. That will now move Chris Taylor, Eli Raposa, and Max Cost up into the top five. And sorry, my ticker was not updated, and this time by at the stripe will be 12 to go. Looks like Dan Dill was some sort of penalty having to come down pit road. That will be a tough break if there's no more yellows out here. So Real and Barker have not separated yet in these first 3 laps. Other drivers trying to make that inside lane work, but they do not have the numbers. Only 4 cars down there. That leaves about 6 up in the top lane, and if they want to make that bottom work, they got to have a few more friends to make it happen. But not everyone's going to be content with riding on around in a single file line by the time this race is over. Out in front, Kenny Real is. I know he's a big fan of these super speedway racing. Really enjoys even, I think he even jumps in the Draft Master series, one of the newer series in iRacing that only races on super speedways, because that is very, very popular here on iRacing because of the strategy. It's not quite, I wouldn't say it's fully real racing, let's say, especially in real life where it's wide open, just using some brake and timing the runs. But there is definitely some skill to super speedway racing. As that time by is the real 10 to go. So 5 laps already in the books, 10 to go. So far, everyone hanging on out, clicking down the laps. But for sure, with 5 to go, we'll start seeing 2, 3, maybe even 4 wide racing. You're much more likely to see 4 wide racing around Talladega because it is slightly wider. But here at Daytona, definitely can get away with 3 wide racing. And I'm not 100% sure because I didn't take a look when I was loading it in, so it's my bad. But this almost looks like the old Daytona with the big bumps down on the inside lane. And if that's the case, that's going to make that inside lane that much tougher. But yeah, this track looks very, very bumpy through the corners. You see these cars bouncing on around. So I would put my money it is the older Daytona before the repave. So just to add another challenge for these drivers to tackle. As we see the inside lane starting to form up a little bit more. Rob Lowe leading the way with Jeff Pogo. And I believe Matt Taylor also down on that inside lane. Currently 3 cars down there. The other 7 still up top, clicking off those laps. Wiley's now going to duck out of line. He will take over the lead for the inside lane. So we'll see what the 13 car can do with the 21 pushing. But looks like losing that draft. So we'll probably see most of those guys jump up to the top side, re-catch the pack, and see what kind of run they can get from that. And if they time it right, especially these 4 cars, you know, check on out a little bit, get really packed up together, they could definitely make a big push and build some big time momentum, because that's where you get the biggest benefit with these cars is a big run. We'll see the 13 car get here, and you see him duck out of line and start passing cars like they're standing still, at least initially. Then down this backstretch it gets a little bit tougher. Was able to at least get to the door of Shoemaker. It looks like that it will stall on out from there. So maybe trying to learn a little bit, put something in the back pocket for later in this race. But with 7 laps to go, you got to start thinking, when do you uncork this thing? Top 5, Kenny Reel, Johnny Barker, Eli Raposa, Max Koss, and Bryce Shoemaker making up that top 5. Chris Taylor in 6th position, kind of the last car in this pack. And then the last 4, Jason Wiley, Rob Lowell, Matt Taylor, and Jeff Pogo, kind of in their own zip code, starting to lose the pack. And once you do that, especially with these cars, it is nearly impossible to get back up there. So unless we get a late race yellow, it might be a 6-horse battle in the end of this one, because this time by at the stripe, we will see 5 laps to go. If we need a little bit more drama, Dan Dill could tag on to this. He just went 1 lap down, so he could technically now push someone to the win. Doesn't quite have his teammate up in this pack, so can't push the likes of maybe Jeff Pogo to the win, but could definitely push someone else to a win here with now 5 laps to go. Like I mentioned, as they're running, Kenny Reel sits 10 points back from Jeff Pogo, so I think Pogo needs to at least finish in 8th position. And I think with a win here, I think that could put Kenny Reel into the lead of the points. So for the next 4 laps, Kenny Reel is going to have to drive his heart out and probably throw some huge blocks before it's all said and done, because He has a hungry Johnny Barker tied with Real in points. Eli Raposa a little bit further back, but Max Koss as well in the mix. So a lot can unfold here, but so far everyone's still content with riding. Here we go, 3 to go at the stripe. If you're the likes of Shoemaker, maybe Chris Taylor, I mean, when do you jump out of line? 3 to go, still a little bit of time, but you got to start thinking about making that move. As it is definitely a 6-horse race to the end here with these guys. If I'm Johnny Barker, I'm probably not making a move till the white flag lap, but you got to keep an eye on that mirror of if the likes of Raposa, Koss have anything up their sleeves, because this time by, popsicle sticks up in the air. It's 2 to go for the final race of the All-Star Triple Check Challenge, ending here tonight at Daytona. Kenny Real continuing to pull this train forwards. Johnny Barker has been glued to that back bumper since the one and only restart we had so far. Jason Wiley down on pits. Not sure what kind of issue he had, but that is a tough break. That puts Pogo up into 8th, and I think that's where he needs to be here. And here we go. We are going to be racing back to the stripe because we will see the white flag. One more lap to go. So now even if they wreck, no caution coming on out. What does the field have in store? What can Kenny Real do? Does Johnny Barker have a trick? Yes, he does. He'll go to the inside. He'll try and bring Raposa. Here comes Koss. Man, oh man, 3 wide racing. Real up top, Barker in the middle, Max Koss down low. Real's gonna get some help. Oh man, they are wrecking. They save it. Wow, what a save by Johnny Barker. They somehow hang on to that race car. Here comes Real. Real will turn Koss, and Real will pick up the win at the stripe. Holy moly. Will that be enough points for the 11 to walk away with the All-Star Challenge? But man, what a race. And I tell you what, Kenny Real got a great push from the 54 of Shoemaker there in 3 and 4 to pick up that win. And Shoemaker will finish 2nd when it's all said and done. And Johnny Barker being the 3rd car in that 3 wide finish there at the stripe. Wow. Daytona usually always puts on a pretty good show, but let's take a look one more time. Coming to the checkered flag here off of turn number 4. And you can see the push Real got from Shoemaker. Big run on Koss, so Real's going to take the momentum, try and go to the inside. I think Koss tries to block it a little bit too late, but yeah, I don't know if Real maybe moved enough, but that turns the 63 down onto pit road. Then Shoemaker has a big run and almost gets to the outside of Real, maybe gets contact with him. That slows him up just a little bit, but Johnny Barker, you know, if it was Talladega, we could have seen a different winner out here tonight, but it will be the number 11 machine of Kenny Real burning it down here on the front stretch. And what a finish, as wow. See the 11 now with the new debris update, throwing all sorts of dirt on the track, but he don't care. He's out here burning it down to pick up the 3rd and final checkered flag of the All-Star Challenge. Man, some good stuff out here tonight. As that was a heck of a finish, as we'll try and dial up Kenny Reel here in just one moment. And trying to see an update in the points here before we get a word with Kenny Reel. Want to see how it all shook on out. And yeah, that does it. That was enough for Kenny Reel to walk away with the All-Star crown here for season number 5. He will get the job done at Daytona, clutch on up on the final lap, and walk away with the crown. 2 points over Jeff Pogo. Wow. Alrighty, we'll see if we can catch a word with him now. And I think we got him here. Kenny, do you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, man. First and foremost, gotta talk about this race and that last lap. I mean, holy smokes. You knew they were going to make a move there, but that 3-wide racing, wow.
Yeah, the last 2 laps, I seen Johnny backing up, so I already knew he was practicing the run, trying to get the feel for the run. So the second to last lap, I kept backing up to him. I was lifting and dragging the brake to get him back to me, so he couldn't figure out what kind of run he was going to have. Just to get him back to me, because I already knew he had a teammate behind him, so I pretty much knew the move was going to be made at some point. I just didn't really expect everybody except for Bryce to go with him down there. Well, no, the other person took him 3, and then we were 3, and we were just side drafting bottom, kind of got a run. Then Bryce gave me a really good push in 3 and 4, and I feel bad for the 63 car. I made a move out of turn 4, and I didn't expect him to. I expected him to block, but not after I was underneath him. So I feel bad about, turning him around there. But, when you're racing for a win, I get he's doing what he has to do. But at the same time, I'm not lifting either.
Yep, at that point, everyone's racing back to the line there. But the move being made by Johnny Barker in the middle of the corner, I mean, I know you're a big fan of these super speedways and pretty good at it. Were you expecting a move there? Or I was expecting it down the backstretch.
I think the move in the corner was actually I've seen it done, and that's usually, especially in like turn 1, I've practiced it with other people, and it's actually kind of a smart way to do it because you're gonna throw off the leader. Like no one's expecting you to make that move in the middle of turn 1 and 2 and stuff like that. You're expecting it to either go in 3 and 4 or off 3 and 4. That's when you're expecting it. So him making that move there was actually pretty smart. But I just kept, like I said, the last 2-3 laps, I seen him backing up, and I knew he had a teammate, so I was just expecting a move to come. And when I seen it come, I just went down, and they weren't connected, which allowed me to get his right rear and drag him back, and pretty much side drafted him the whole way down the backstretch in the 3 and 4, and pulled them back pretty good. So
yeah, and that was a heck of a race and heck of a move by you to pick up that win. And with the win, I don't know if you heard from anyone yet, but you're able to clutch on up there and walk away with the All-Star crown when it's all said and done.
See, I didn't know. I knew I'd have to win. I knew I'd have to win Daytona, and I was so happy coming to Daytona because I'm a super speedway racer. It's literally all I do is just super speedway race. So I was happy to see it, and I know Pogo did. I knew he didn't win Nashville. I just didn't know where he finished. So I knew he'd have to finish probably like 4 places or some odd behind me for me to even win. I really thought it was impossible until I just went and looked at the results. So yeah, kind of glad I got that win there because I didn't know even with the win if I still won or not until you just told me.
Yeah, definitely awesome stuff, and I'm sure that's a big accolade because this was pretty tough. 3 very different tracks and definitely not the easiest. You got Nashville with those tricky bumps, a very technical track. Then we head over to Kentucky, and who would have thought Kentucky was going to be the endurance race? And then I know you had this race circled here for Daytona.
Yeah, when I seen the schedule, I literally 5 minutes before qualifying, I bought the fairgrounds track. Never raced it before, so that was my first time on it, which was pretty interesting. And then Kentucky, I'm good at. I just hit the wall both laps in my qualifying, trying to get all of it out of the car and every inch of the track, and messed up. So I had to come from the back and just didn't have nothing for Jeff at the end. And yeah, when I seen Daytona, I was so happy because I don't know what it is about super speedway racing. It's just what I like doing. It's really the only thing I like driving, to be honest. But I didn't know it was going to be the '08 version. And I knew going to the bottom wasn't going to be very good because it's so bumpy. I mean, it's terrible down there. And that's why I just rode the top the whole race.
Yeah, that makes sense because I know you probably even saw from the start that Highland get grouped on up and, freight train on by. Luckily, having that no caution laps counting, was able to get back to the front. You picked the high lane and didn't move from there unless you had to.
Yeah, when we went green and the high lane just went up, you don't, especially on the bottom, like it's so bumpy, no one's comfortable pushing on the bottom. I'm not comfortable pushing here on the bottom unless I literally have to. And the top lane, it's just a lot smoother. You can push up there. And yeah, I picked the top lane and just hope for the best. And luckily the race went good.
Yeah, that it did. Walking away with the win, and most importantly, walking away with that all-star crown. So Kenny, we're going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank for the checkered flag and the crown for season number 5. You are our all-star champion.
I just want to give a shout out to all my teammates over at Piston Broke Motorsports. I want to give everybody at 802 that came out tonight and raced a shout out for coming out and racing. Want to give you as a broadcaster a shout out for on good broadcast as always. And yeah, it was pretty fun tonight. I'm glad we got to put this on.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to go out there, try some different tracks all in one night. Glad everything worked out for people getting in and out, and for you guys putting on a great show. And Kenny, once again, big time congratulations with the win in this, and then that all-star crown. So I'm going to go let you go celebrate that here tonight, but I'm sure we'll be talking to you again here, and have yourself a great way to start 2025, right?
Yeah. I just want to say, hope everyone has a good New Year. Happy New Year to you too, and hopefully, I think we got a race Sunday. Hope to be talking to you then too.
Alrighty, I'm sure we'll be chatting here a bunch in the future. As Kenny, have a great one, and yeah, man, take care.
Thank you, brother. You have a good one.
Alrighty, folks, that was our race number 3 winner and the All-Star Champion for season number 5 of the Riptide Radio Next Gen Cup Series. It is the 11 car of Kenny Reel walking away with that accolade. So big congratulations to him and his team and everyone involved in it. Got to give a huge shout out to the admin and the drivers participating in this tonight, because definitely loading into sessions, weird things can happen. So want to thank everyone coming on out here, not on a normal night, to have some fun. And thank all you guys tuning on in here live and in the replay. Got to give a huge shout out to all you guys to spend your Wednesday night. Not normally on Wednesday nights. Usually I'm racing on these nights, but appreciate you guys all spending that with me here and enjoying some great racing. So let's head over to results for the finals finishing order of the 3 races. Kenny Reel picking up the win. Finishing in second is the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker. And rounding out the podium will be the 6 car of Johnny Barker. Finishing in fourth is Eli Raposa, the 46. And rounding out the top 5 is the 69 of Chris Taylor. Finishing 6th is Matthew Taylor. 7th going to Jeff Pogo. 8th is Rob Lowe. 9th is Max Koss. 10th, Jason Wiley. 11th, Dan Dill. And rounding out the field here from Daytona is Steve Ritter. And for all you tuning on in here at home, I'm going to go run through the point order and finishing results from the 3 races for the All-Star Challenge. So, like we mentioned before, Kenny Reel picks up the crown with 128 points, finishing in second with 126 was the 97 of Jeff Pogo, and rounding out the top three from the All-Star Challenge with 120 points is the 6 car of Johnny Barker. Finishing fourth was Matt Taylor. Rounding out the top 5 is Rob Lowell. 6th going to Eli Raposa. 7th is Steve Ritter. 8th, Chris Taylor. 9th, Max Koss. 10th, Dan Dill. 11th, going to Jason Wiley. Bryce Shoemaker, 12th, and Austin Smith finishing 13th. So that will do it here for the All-Star Triple Check Challenge as we wrap up here at Daytona. Want to give, of course, a big shout out to all the sponsors here with the 802 and all that group. You know, the admins, Rob making this happen, and everyone else doing work in behind the scenes, as well as these great sponsors. That being Riptide Radio. Riptide Radio, the sounds of the salt, sand, and sea from Ocean Drive in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Some of the best beach and boogie music. We also got to give a huge shout out to BG Graphics coming on board. Out of the Woods Crafts, DTL Custom Graphics, and of course Leaf Guard. Got to give a big shout out once again, all you guys tuning on in, either live or the replay. All the racers putting on the show. And yeah, it looks like we got Bruce, Keith, Blend, and Kenny out there in the YouTube chat lands. Let me know who you guys are rooting for and keeping me entertained. So I want to give a shout out to all you guys. And of course, Turn 3 is partnered with Premiere here going into the new year. Be sure to check them out with the link in the description. That will take you over to their website, as well as Premiere now has a driving academy school with the one and only Richard Murtaugh. Can learn some of the best dirt secrets from that man, and hopefully make you a little bit faster. So if that sounds interesting, be sure to check that out. With, I think the website will take you over, and you can find it through there, or I think it's RMR Driving Academy. You can find that with a quick Google search. But yeah, that will do it here tonight. Be sure to tune in this Sunday as these guys pick up with the regular season racing, with, of course, race number 7 at the old Chicagoland Speedway. So heading back to those 2-mile ovals should be good. So that will be this Sunday. You won't want to miss it. Normal time as always. So once again, I have been Brett the Jet in the booth. Everyone have a great 2025. This is a great way to kick it on off. So hopefully you guys have a great year. And we'll catch you on Sunday. I've been Brett the Jet in the booth, and I just flew by you. Have a good one.